Thank you, Chair. And I see that you are probably able to hear me by my screen lighting up. Is that correct?
Loud and clear.
Great. I missed a couple of interventions, so I may be repeating some questions that were asked. My first question will be to those who conducted the audit. You have uncovered routine irregularities in the hiring of consultants in Minister Melanie Jolie's department. Was this an annual review that you conducted or part of a regular review?
Thank you for the question. Thank you for the question. No, it's not a regular review that we do. We do have internal processes that do review, but that's part of the Chief Financial Officer's group. In my group, what we do is every year, as I explained, we do a risk-based audit plan where we plan every year the engagements that we will be doing during that year. That said year, and last year we had identified this as an audit to undertake. So it's not something that we do regularly.
Right, okay. So I believe the review followed a public outcry over billions spent on consultants government-wide, and I think that was in the internal audit report. This is over $500 million in global affairs over the last 5 years alone. What is the acceptable rate of contract failure in government departments?
So an acceptable rate obviously would be 0% issues, but unfortunately the process is being so complex and so many people being involved in the process itself, I'm not sure that's you can actually go for that.
Right, so there has been no other rate above 0% that would be identified as an acceptable rate of failure?
I wouldn't consider that as being a failure. We looked at various things. I think there were errors. There were issues that were identified in the report. I've been doing audits for several years, and we always seem to find some of the issues that do come up by the way that we actually do risk-based sampling and overall sampling.
Thank you. So I guess I'll follow up. Do you think 26% is an acceptable rate of failure?
There are issues with, we had calculated 20...
Just a yes or no, ma'am? Just a yes or no. Is that an acceptable rate?
I think categorizing it as a 26% failure rate, I think, is incorrect. We have categorized it as having issues in 20% of the contracts that we did.
Okay, 20%. Review. Is that acceptable?
I think.
Yes or no? This is an easy question.
It's not an easy question because it depends of what we do and what we look at, and it depends on the context. Okay, I'm going to change the question then. Perhaps I'll make it a little easier. What is the expected rate of failure when dealing with organizations the size of Global Affairs Canada? The expected rate, not the acceptable, but the expected rate. Thank you for your question, Mr. Chair. I'm sorry, I can't answer that question. Of course, it would be...
Okay, then I'll move on, and I'll note that you were unable to answer the question. The next question would be, I believe, for the Assistant Deputy Minister. Over the course of this committee's investigation into a RISE scam, we have learned of many terms in the world of procurement, government procurement. They are bait and switch, the Charbonneau loop, and last but not least, contract splitting. And that describes the practice of divvying up large contracts into smaller ones in order to bypass competitive bidding requirements and sole sourcing because they do not reach the dollar threshold. In your audit, I guess we'll go back to the auditor, in your audit, you found cases of contract splitting. How many of the 19 contracts that failed the audit included cases of contract splitting?
Very brief answer, please.
Thank you for your question, Mr. Chair. None.
Great. Thank you very much.